Now, what's the dumbest thing you've ever done when drunk? How did you feel afterward? In this totally heartbreaking case, the famous TikToker got really drunk and killed their friend. But how did it get there? Let's find out. Helen Rose Hastings was the only daughter of Susan Rosenberg and Philip Hastings, who were both successful biologists working at Baylor College of Medicine. She grew up in Houston, Texas, where she was described as a smart and highly intelligent girl, speaking in full sentences by the time she was just 18 months. Helen had a really great childhood, with lots of hobbies ranging from swimming to theater to rock bands and robotics. She was always curious and wanted to try out everything. She spent most of her school breaks traveling the world with her parents, going to far-flung places like Croatia, Oslo, and Tokyo. This really opened up her mind at a very young age, and by the time she was 7, she was fascinated by Japanese culture, and she told her mom that she wanted to start an institute for women scientists in Japan when she grows up. Sadly, she never got to see her dream materialize. Helen's almost perfect childhood changed the moment she reached middle school. She didn't fit in with her classmates who found her weird and started picking on her. At an early age, Helen had developed symptoms of misophonia, which is a condition that makes you intolerant to certain sounds made by other people, such as chewing, pencil tapping, coughing, and sniffling. As you can already guess, her condition got worse in school because those sounds are everywhere. It got to a point that Helen could not sit still in class or eat lunch with her classmates, which made her miserable, and her classmates really made her life in school difficult and unbearable. Things got worse when she started identifying as pansexual. A pansexual is someone who is attracted either emotionally or physically or both to people regardless of their gender. While this should not be taken as something bad or negative, the other students did not understand this, and so they bullied her when they learned that she had a relationship with another girl in school. Because of all this bullying and harassment, the once vibrant and outgoing girl became depressed, anxious, and even developed an eating disorder. She spent most of her time alone and felt that nobody liked her or understood her. But as they say, there's a place for everyone in the world, and Helen was lucky to find hers. It all started in 8th grade, when one of Helen's few friends invited her to a local cosplay convention. If you don't already know what cosplay is, it's like kind of performance art, where people dress up in costumes and makeup that represent their favorite characters from anime, video games, TV, and film. The term itself was derived from 2 words, costume and roleplay. So people don't just dress up, they act and behave like the character they are portraying. The cosplay culture is actually very popular in many parts of the world, most especially Japan, East Asia, the US, and Europe. Helen was really captivated by this fun and exciting world and saw it as an interesting way to escape her sad and depressing reality. Helen was drawn to the escapism of it. Some people view it as an escape from reality. They're not human, they're this character. For 3 days, they don't have to think about what's going on in the outside world. In this community, Helen fit right in, and it became part of her. She was a talented cosplayer, and within no time, she had established herself in the cosplay community and acquired quite a number of followers on TikTok and Instagram, where she would post her cosplay videos. Although her mom Susan was a bit skeptical of Helen's newfound interest, she was happy that her daughter had gotten out of her depression and was making friends. I saw that it was a community of people who in some way or other didn't fit in, and they had this group of people with whom they could. One of the few friends that Helen met in the cosplay community was Mary Ann Oliver Snow, otherwise known as Yandere Freak, or Snow, the Salt Queen in the cosplay world. Snow was a few years older than Helen and identified as non-binary, using they/them pronouns. They were also from Houston, Texas, and had been in the cosplay world since 2016. Their videos in different outfits and hairdos garnered millions of likes and made them sort of a celebrity, with over 1.6 million followers on TikTok. They are particularly well known for cosplaying characters from a series called Danganronpa, a Chinese video game in which teens are locked inside a school with a murderous bear and forced to fight to the death. Those who knew Snow described them as being a little problematic and reckless. They would do things that a lot of people found to be quite inappropriate and disturbing. Like in 2019, Snow posted a video on social media where they were having a cosplay photo shoot at a local cemetery. They were sitting on the gravestones, swinging on them, and even dancing on top of them. This really enraged a lot of people who found Snow's actions as being disrespectful to the dead in the cemetery. And instead of apologizing for their actions, Snow made things worse by mocking everyone, saying that people were just overreacting and that they did nothing wrong. They also claimed that they had asked permission from the management to have a photo shoot there. However, the cemetery superintendent came forward to deny this and even threatened to have Snow arrested if they go back to the cemetery. And that's not all, guys. In another incident, Snow claimed that they had rescued some sick kittens and asked for money from their followers to help save the kittens. But people later came to learn that the kittens were never really sick and that Snow had pocketed the money. Despite all the controversies, Helen and Snow became really good friends and started hanging out together quite often. But this friendship would soon end in a disaster. Now, fast forward to January 17th, 2021. The police received a distress call from a house in Houston where someone was reported to have been shot. The person was rushed to the hospital where they sadly passed away. This person was no other than Helen Hastings. At the time of her passing, she had been a freshman at Baylor College in Ohio, where she intended to study neuroscience, psychology, and art. Her friends in college described her as an incredibly warm and friendly person who was always welcoming to people. I think the first thing she said to me was complimenting my jacket or something. And from then on, we became close friends really quickly because she was such a bright and warm person. The news of Helen's death was released across social media on January 20th, 2021, and her family and friends were totally devastated. There were no details on what really happened and how she died, and for months, no one had the answers to these questions. But when the truth finally came out, everyone was completely horrified. Now, we all have different ways of grieving when we lose someone we care about. Some of us may grieve openly, while others may do so in secret. If you're active on social media, you'd probably post something about your friend, or maybe take a break from posting for a while to grieve. This was not the case with Snow, who was acting like they didn't just lose a close friend. They were posting cosplay videos regularly on TikTok and Instagram, and did not, even for one moment, mention Helen anywhere in their posts. But although some people found it strange, they never would have thought that Snow was actually involved in their friend's death. According to the police report, Snow, Helen, and 5 other friends were gathered at Snow's house for a party. They were drinking, smoking, and generally just messing around. Then, at midnight, they decided to watch the Batman-inspired series Gotham and cosplay the characters. At this point, Snow announced that they had a gun, just like the character Penguin in the series, and then they went out to the garage to get it. They brought the gun into the living room, and everyone started playing and messing around with it. Now here's when things took a really dark turn. One of the friends came up to Snow and jokingly said, "Ooh, shoot me." Snow raised up the gun for a moment and then lowered it. Then Helen, wanting to fit in, said, "Oh, do me." And Snow was like, "Okay," then turned to their right and placed the gun to the left side of Helen's head and pulled the trigger. They all watched in horror as the gun went off and Helen fell to the ground bleeding. All along, they thought the gun was empty, but clearly it wasn't. The group was in a panic. One tried to stop the blood with a teddy bear, and Snow kept saying it was an accident. Somehow they managed to call 911, and Helen was rushed to the hospital, where she was placed on life support but died 2 days later. Snow was later arrested and charged with second-degree manslaughter, which carries a potential prison sentence of 2 to 20 years, according to Texas state laws. They told police that the gun had been left in their home by an ex-boyfriend when he moved out, and that they and their friends would often play with it, believing that it was safe. Snow said that the ex-boyfriend had said that he'd removed all the bullets in the magazine, and that they didn't remember putting it back in the gun, though they were really drunk and could have done it. They said they were putting the gun at themselves and other friends, and it was making a clicking sound when they pulled the trigger 3 or 4 times. When the other friends were interrogated, they said that they also didn't think that the gun was loaded, and that they heard Helen jokingly ask Snow to shoot her. When investigators asked them why Snow would place a gun at Helen's head, one witness said their group is wild, dumb, and does jokes like that all the time. On January 19th, 2021, Snow was released on a $20,000 bond, and they went back to living their life as if nothing had happened. They continued posting for 9 months and could actually be seen in some video wearing an ankle monitoring bracelet. Some of their TikTok videos are quite gory and involve fake blood splatters in the background and references to violence. Now, this was really disturbing for a lot of people who felt that Snow didn't really care about taking Helen's life. One person wrote in their comment, "What a huge slap in the face to the families of the victims to be posting like this." However, others were a little more sympathetic to Snow, saying that they'd also lost someone and were working through it. Let them grieve and move on. They lost a close friend just a few months ago and will live with that guilt forever. Snow has since made their TikTok and Instagram accounts private, and according to their lawyer, they're distancing themselves from social media for a while. The lawyer also said that Snow was incredibly remorseful about what took place and was having a difficult time dealing with it. Meanwhile, Helen's family and friends continue to remember her for her really bubbly and energetic personality and sense of humor. I was grateful to have both empathy and excitement from them. To top it all off, they did it while having the cutest llama socks you would find. They generally just had a great fashion sense. Thanks, Helen, for being a first friend. This won't be the last time we celebrate you. What do you think about this case? Is Snow really remorseful for what they did? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section.